Welcome to Watch Mojo, and today we're counting down our picks for the top 20 murderous psychopaths in video games.
Whoa! Whoa! Now, Mr. Raspberry Jam, he died a noble death.
For this list, we'll be looking at prominent video game characters with an inclination towards unhinged violence and murder. However, we're only including characters original to video games. We're also excluding characters whose bloodlust comes from a desire for vengeance rather than their mental state, like Kratos. Some of these entries deal with late-game reveals, so a spoiler warning is in effect. Which of these murderous maniacs unnerved you the most? Share your thoughts in the comments. Number 20. Jacket, Hotline Miami. If you received a message that told you to go murder the Russian mafia or else, you might think twice before actually doing it. But that's not the case in Hotline Miami. Jacket is more than happy to throw on a rooster mask and go hunting. Being a violent vigilante doesn't necessarily mean he's crazy. However, since he starts to experience visions of his victims talking to him, he should probably seek some help. As the story descends further into madness, so too does Jacket. He grows more comfortable with killing anyone in his way, evildoer or otherwise. Number 19. Scott Shelby, Heavy Rain.
Tell me who the origami killer is. I want to know who killed my son.
Listen, when I'm done, I'll tell you everything I know. I promise.
Quantic Dream's groundbreaking adventure game has you control 4 different characters, but they're all tied to the origami killer, who drowns young boys during heavy rainfall. As you come to find out, Scott Shelby, one of the 4 leads, is the origami killer. As a private detective working on the case, he collects and gets rid of evidence against him. His desire to murder children grew from his own childhood trauma. As a boy, he helplessly watched his brother drown during a storm since his father was too intoxicated to help. As an adult, he kidnaps his victims in a twisted search for a father who would do anything to save their child.
Believe me, I've suffered just as much as my victims.
Number 18. Flowey, Undertale. Anyone surprised to find a flower here has clearly never dealt with Flowey. He's the first character you come across when you fall into the underground, and he wastes almost no time trying to murder you. Nearly every line of dialogue from him is something you'd hear straight from the mouths of the world's most notorious killers. A big part of why Flowey wants to kill everyone is due to him being a soulless reincarnation of a dead monster prince. But even when he does steal several human souls for himself, he's just as sadistic. He then just has the power to back up his kill-happy personality. Number 17. Dr. Chalice Mercer, Dead Space.
Your fight for survival is admirable but pointless. And yet you keep on going.
You'd think that with nightmare-inducing creature designs, we'd have enough to deal with. And yet, the team behind Dead Space decided to throw a bloodthirsty lunatic into the mix. After all hell broke loose aboard the Ishimura, Dr. Chalice Mercer became fascinated by the necromorphs. Unfortunately, this fascination quickly grew into obsession as he experimented on survivors, turning them into the horrific undead alien monsters. Not only that, but he wholeheartedly believed their convergence event would lead to a peaceful afterlife where he'd reunite with lost loved ones. Sorry, Doc, but anything that looks like this is not leading you to anything peaceful.
Don't you want to be reunited with the people you lost?
Number 16. Adam the Clown. Dead Rising.
Stay away from there, Gramps!
Killer clowns have been disturbing people for years. Even in a game with hordes of the undead, Adam the Clown from Dead Rising leaves a strong impression. Once a regular, sane performer, Adam McIntyre lost his mind after seeing his audience get eaten by zombies. In the game's mall setting, he keeps watch over a ride he refuses to let you stop.
I won't let you stop the ride, Gramps! If the ride stops, then the zombies come back!
That's because A, the noise keeps the zombies away, and B, his mind is so warped he thinks the bloody dolls enjoying it are actual kids. This boss doesn't get a lot of screen time, but his sickly, sweet voice and chilling laugh are more than enough to earn some recognition. Number 15. The Baker Family. Resident Evil 7. Biohazard.
Hit boy's got to eat. He got to have his supper. Come here, boy. Let's do this.
Their insanity may be due to an infection beyond their control, but the Bakers are still one seriously messed up family. As Ethan Winters searches for his missing wife, he comes into conflict with the family holding her captive. Whether it's Jack stalking you through the decrepit residence or Marguerite's nauseating boss fight, the family will do a number on your psyche.
I'm gonna kill you! I'm gonna kill you! I'm gonna kill you!
Every member knows just what to say and do to get our skin crawling. Capcom was inspired by twisted families in iconic films like the Texas Chainsaw Massacre. But we'd say the Baker clan could give even Leatherface's fam a run for their money. Number 14. Junko Enoshima. Danganronpa. Trigger Happy Havoc.
By the way, it was you yourselves who blocked off the windows, the doors, all the exits. Under the headmaster's direction, you all went about your work like obedient little sheep.
The original Danganronpa follows a group of high school students trapped inside a school. A robotic bear tells them escape can only be reached by killing another person and avoiding accusation at the subsequent trial. Little does anyone know that the one responsible for their predicament is hiding in plain sight. Junko Enoshima fools everyone with her charismatic personality, though also fakes her own death. In truth, she murdered the school's headmaster, hired her twin sister to play her before killing her, and erased everyone's memories of the last 2 years living inside the school due to an apocalyptic event. We'd find her dedication impressive if it wasn't so insane.
So this is how the despair of death feels. It's so wonderful!
Number 13. Goro Akechi. Persona 5.
Make headlines with the arrest warrant, then use incentives to get testimonies. It's not a bad method.
In Persona 5, you and your friends dedicate your free time to taking down evil adults. However, one of the most dangerous characters in the game is around your age. Goro Akechi is a teen detective investigating the Phantom Thieves, as well as a recent string of psychotic breaks in Citizens. As you find out, Akechi has been working with corrupt politician Shido.
Shido-san, my job is complete.
I've told you not to call me by name.
His expertise in the metaverse and his proclivity towards violence made him an excellent assassin. His murders in this realm caused the real person to die as well. After the reveal, Akechi grows increasingly more deranged as he doesn't have to hide anymore. Number 12. Calixto Corium. The Elder Scrolls V. Skyrim.
Another girl killed. This is Susanna from Candlehearth. Served me a drink just a few nights ago, but I can't say I knew her.
You'll come across more than a few twisted individuals in Skyrim, such as Cicero, a creepy jester with an unhealthy relationship with a coffin. The one who outshines all is Calixto Corium, aka the Butcher. The Blood on the Ice quest sees you investigating the grisly murders of several young women, and Calixto does a good job playing an innocent bystander. As you investigate and collect his journals, the killer's disturbing practices come to light.
My sister and I once traveled the world to assemble our collection. Such adventures we had.
Following his sister's death, he took to necromancy in an attempt to bring her back. He just needed a few things from his victims first. Thankfully, the Dragonborn puts an end to him, and Windhelm sleeps soundly again.
Both sides have been snapping them up. Tell them I'll pay double the normal price. We've been getting by.
Hey, watch it!
Number 11. Krieg the Psycho. Borderlands 2.
What actually comes out of my mouth is, I have the shiniest meat bicycle!
With a name like that, you better believe Krieg is absolutely bonkers. Released as a playable class in DLC for Borderlands 2, Krieg has quite the unsettling backstory. Like many members of the Psycho enemy class, he was horrifically experimented on until he lost his mind. Only in this case, his sane self was rendered an inner voice while his insane self became his body's dominant personality.
She's gonna die, and it's gonna be your fault. Turn around, pretty lady!
He can't stop himself from committing murder, but he does avoid killing innocents as much as possible. This wild characterization leads to some pretty neat skills, like gaining health back based on damage output. Plus, his powerful Buzz Axe rampage is endlessly entertaining and can turn the tide against a large group of enemies. Number 10. Pigsy. Manhunt. Some murderous lunatics tried to hide their nature, while others are allowed to proudly flaunt it. Pigsy from Manhunt is definitely of the latter. The game puts you in the middle of a snuff film, with a director pulling strings and sending vicious murderers after you. At the top of this horrid food chain is Pigsy, who wields a chainsaw, wears the face of an actual pig as a mask, and can't express much beyond a strong urge to slaughter. Oh, and we nearly forgot his other gag-inducing character trait of enjoying the taste of human flesh. He's more beast than man, which is why it's so satisfying when you finally get to take him down. Number 9. Trevor Phillips. Grand Theft Auto 5.
No? You don't mind? Oh, because you're a dead man? And the only sentient part of you left is this little bit of brain and the gristle on the end of my boot? Well, thank you very much, cowboy.
Oh boy. Grand Theft Auto has always excelled at removing the moral restraints of its players, letting them loose in a playground of chaos. Trevor from GTA 5 is the epitome of this belief. Unless you're a close friend, and even that can quickly change, Trevor has no qualms with ripping you off or ripping you to shreds.
Then he kind of got a little angry, so I admit, I kind of got a little angry.
Did you kill him?
The career criminal is the very definition of deranged, going from calm to screaming at the drop of a hat. Actually, we're not sure he's ever been calm, though we can't deny that his extreme disposition is entertaining. Trevor is a perfect fit as a protagonist for this series, elevated by a tremendous performance from Stephen Ogg.
Say something! Oh, I wish you were dead, I really do.
Oh, I love you!
Number 8. Bray and Tammy Aberdeen. Red Dead Redemption 2.
Well, ain't this a rare treat? Why didn't you tell me we had guests coming? I'd have fixed myself up nice.
Rounding out Rockstar's terrible trifecta of twisted Terminators are the Aberdeens from Red Dead Redemption 2. The siblings own a pig farm players can find in Scarlet Meadows just north of Pleasance. Surprisingly, them being incestuous is not the most disturbing thing about them, though it certainly doesn't help.
That smells delicious. The food don't smell too bad neither.
Oh, stop it, you!
These two like to warmly welcome travelers before drugging them, robbing them, killing them, and then dumping their bodies in a mass grave. Not only that, but it's heavily implied they murdered their own mother before disposing of her body in the same hole.
Please, no, please, I'm sorry. Not here. Mama!
We know this is the Wild West, but damn, that's messed up. Number 7. Needles Kane. Twisted Metal series.
She was the only one who ever escaped. She was the one that got away.
Looking like a clown and driving a weaponized ice cream truck, Needles Kane has always been a striking mascot for Twisted Metal. While every character in the series is, at the very least, a bit deranged, none of them hold a candle to this madman.
I don't blame myself. They were my first murders. Oh, boys and girls.
In the 2012 game, we learned he was once a normal man who developed a bloodthirsty alter ego, quenching his first thirst for blood with his own family. His daughter was able to escape, prompting him to go on the hunt for her and murdering any and all in his path.
All these years. And this time, I'm going to finish what I started.
Number 6. Walter Sullivan. Silent Hill 4. The Room. When it comes to Walter Sullivan, it's his ridiculously dark upbringing that led him to being a homicidal maniac. Abandoned by his parents as an infant, he was raised by a sacrilegious cult known as the Order. He was then taught about a ritual known as the 21 Sacraments, which he set about enacting in order to bring God and paradise to Earth. Of course, nothing is too straightforward in Silent Hill.
Hey there, little Walter. Just a little longer now.
The sacraments refer to murders, with Walter cutting out the heart of each victim and carving a number into them. He also commits most of them from beyond the grave, as the game begins after he took his own life upon being caught. Still, he's completely nuts. Number 5. Sander Cohen. BioShock.
So say goodbye to those two blowhards, and hello to an evening with Sander Cohen.
Upon entering the underwater, war-torn city of Rapture, one of your first thoughts will likely be how utterly insane everyone is. Yet, despite not being one of the main villains, Sander Cohen is one of the most memorable. You won't encounter him until later in the game when you reach Fort Frolic. Once a respected artist of many forms, Cohen lost his mind and turns to violence like everyone else.
You'll find your path to Ryan is now clear.
But as a perfectionist in his craft, he's the only one who cares what his victims look like once he's done with them. All around this location, you'll find plastered bodies kept in perfect poses. We understand the importance of vision in art, but this is ridiculous.
But who knows if that man is yet even born. Now, go.
Number 4. Voss Montenegro. Far Cry 3.
Did I ever tell you what the definition of insanity
It should come as no surprise to find a violent, drug-addicted pirate prone to mood swings on a list like this. But in just a handful of scenes, Voss outshines all villains in Far Cry, as well as those in other franchises for that matter. It's a combination of a stellar performance from Michael Mando and a strong characterization from the writing team.
That is crazy.
As you try to survive on the Rook Islands, Voss and his men hunt and torment you. In each scene, the leader is shown to walk a fine line between composed and savagely brutal. He's so unpredictable and menacing that even his own men fear him.
Did I ever tell you the definition of insanity?
Number 3. Eddie Gluskin, Outlast, Whistleblower.
Darling.
Don't get us wrong, the base game had its fair share of disturbed killers to choose from. But Eddie from the Whistleblower DLC brings a whole new level of terror. Prior to being admitted to Mount Massive Asylum, Eddie murdered and mutilated women. Old habits die hard. Although, with no woman around, he is taken to attacking other patients in similar ways in an attempt to turn them into his bride.
The incision will hurt, and the conception. And birthing is never easy.
We tell you exactly how, but we think you get the idea. As disgusting as that is, which is very, he also becomes infatuated with the player character, stalking you throughout the playthrough. Number 2. Kefka Palazzo, Final Fantasy VI. Plenty of video game villains crave violence, power, and the destruction of the world. But not as many are as successful as Kefka. The villain of Final Fantasy VI acted as Emperor Gestal's mage, undergoing experimentation in order to use magic. Unfortunately for basically everyone in existence, the procedure turned him entirely psychotic. He betrayed and killed his emperor, which is actually pretty tame compared to his other sins. He also enslaved the main character, poisoned a river just to hear people scream, and literally destroyed the world to make himself a god. He's often thought as one of the best villains in gaming. In terms of body count, he's pretty hard to top.
Before we continue, be sure to subscribe to our channel and ring the bell to get notified about our latest videos. You have the option to be notified for occasional videos or all of them. If you're on your phone, make sure to go into your settings and switch on notifications.
Number 1. The Postal Dude, Postal Series. Since the games and character are both named after one of the most violent acts someone can commit, the Postal Dude more than deserves the crown. The original game chronicled his rampage as he was convinced everyone around him had been subjected to an airborne toxin to make them hyper-aggressive. Of course, that wasn't the case. He just snapped and murdered a ton of people. Although sequels have placed less emphasis on violence being the only solution, it's still usually the most obvious and easiest answer. And the series still has a reputation for letting players, well, go postal. Extreme violence is the character's main personality trait, and we doubt that will ever change.
That's the American dream we all strive for.
In the mood for more awesome gaming content? Be sure to check out this video here on Mojo Plays. And don't forget to subscribe and ring the bell to be notified about our latest videos.